What's up, y'all? Welcome to my first little YouTube video. I'm Keyshawn. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at i.keyshawn. You can also follow me on TikTok, I think, at I don't know. I'm gonna put everything in the description. But anyways, y'all. So I woke up this morning because I was sitting here and I was like, well, I woke up first of all because of God. Let's thank God. But I wanted to make a video because I just had a lot of thoughts and topics on my mind. First and foremost, y'all, I've been in the spaces of friendship, and over maybe like the past year, I've lost maybe like three, four of my close friends. Not by like death or anything like that, but more so just cutting them off, not dealing with them no more, or us just having these different fallouts, and friendship just went down the drain. But I wanted to talk about some specific instances to where I was just like, I'm through. First situation, I had a situation with a really close friend. I'm not gonna say no names. I'm just gonna talk about the situation. Me and this friends have been friends since maybe like 2019, and there was one moment in, I think in April. It was either in April. I think it was April because it was before I took that trip. But in April, um, I had mentioned something to a friend about somebody speaking to me in a weird tone that I just didn't like. In I'll get into that because that's another topic for another day, or maybe this video. I don't know. But was talking to him. I was like, I was talking shit to her. I was fried out of my mind. I was like, I didn't like the way she was talking to me, always doing da 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 da. Mind you, I'm ranting. I'm just ranting, talking to my friend, whatever the case, whatever. Talking to my friend. Next thing you know, he's like, well, you used to do it too. And I was like, what? Now, mind you, me and this friend, I just told y'all, me and this friend kept having fallouts. Obviously, in times when you back away from friends, things change, your boundaries change, you change. And so with this friend, I was sitting here and I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Like, I asked him, when did I do this? When was this happening? He was like, I don't remember, but I know when we used to be in so and so calls or whatever, you was. And I was just like, and when I had to think back to this, I was like, this was months ago. And then I had to ask myself, okay, well, if I was doing this, you didn't. So, and that's what I'm saying. This is me the whole time. I'm confused because I'm like, this person is literally like going in on me, or not going in on me, but this person is trying to call me out for something months ago. And so then we ended up arguing, and I ended up hanging up. Now he think I did it on purpose, which was so interesting. Was I had the phone like this, and I was just like, and I was just scrolling, and so then I ended up just hanging up. Or I don't know. It was one of those two. And so, but I didn't mean to hang up because when I was still going, which was so funny. And so I was still going in the argument, like, but then I realized like I hung up. So then he ended up sending me a text message, and in the messages he kind of just showed it all because he thought what I was saying was bull. Basically, let me give y'all what I'm talking about. I had a coworker, and she was always doing the, oh, hey, boo. Hey, you look cute. And you doing all that extra stuff. A lot of women and a lot of men, especially heterosexual men who are blatant homophobic, or subliminally homophobic, they'll change their tone and try to mock feminine men and all that stuff like that. But in her instance, though, now that I don't think I think she was just more so trying to fit in now that I've understood some circumstances. But basically, he's basically saying I was talking in that tone. And so I was like, okay, well, in the messages I told him, baby, this is 2026. That was in what? Early 2025 when that happened. So not early 2025, late 2025. So I was sitting here confused on why he's bringing this up, and basically he's saying it's a bunch of bullshit, yada yada yada, all types of stuff. And I'm like, how is my boundaries? How is my boundaries and what I dislike and what I do like? How does that affect you? Why? I'm talking about me. I was not talking about him. I was talking about me. So I was just confused, and I made sure I said all of that in the messages. But the point of the story is, what happened is asking somebody, what happened to their boundaries, what made a person change, what made a person do this and do that versus just flat out, oh yeah, you did that too. So da 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 da. It just gave me weird ass vibe. It was just weird. It was weird all around. And so then I ended up having a drunk night where I was like, okay, you know what? I want to talk about it. We ended up talking about it. And he was basically saying, you know, I didn't like when you were cutting me off and this, that, and the third. But I didn't cut you off because I felt like I wanted to cut you off. I cut you off because you were speaking in a space that you we weren't talking about you in. I was talking about me. So I just feel like friend and people and also people like that, people who feel when you expressing your own boundaries and stuff, they feel they get it's just weird. I don't know how to explain y'all. I had an articulation, but you get what I'm saying. So basically, um, things were cool. Later on, we fell out again because we was talking about eating healthy and we was talking about some other stuff before that. But he said this, and this is what threw me off. He was like, "Well, you're always on the internet." And da 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 da. And what made me go back to this, what made me think was, no, oh, you're talking about me doing my tarot readings. You're talking about, because I do tarot readings, I do the psychic stuff and all that stuff. Why I get readings and all of that. And so that was my first thought, and I was like, and I cut him off mid sentence. I said, "Stop, stop, stop, stop with what you're doing, because what you're saying right now ain't even making sense." So again, not asking, well, where do you get your healthy food sources from? Where are you getting, instead of just you always eat, you always on the internet. I hung up. This time I hung up mid argument. He sent me another message. Oh, you're miserable. I hope you wake up. You see you're the problem. Da 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 da. Now I've had some instances with this friend where I've kind of overreacted. Now that in that sense is on me because obviously I've been harboring feelings that I ain't expressed. Even though I was getting to a point to him where I could express a lot of my feelings towards him. And mind you, this was just a platonic friendship, which was the interesting part about it. But um the point of these story times is that I just don't like people who feel the need to one up or always bring or always want to hold something over your head. And if you want to call me out on something you felt like I'm being hypocritical about, or you feel like, I'm not pulling my weight in, it's a way you do that. It's a way you go up to somebody that's your closest friend. I'm not talking about some random person you see off the street. Hey, so you were doing this last time, so what made you do that now? Like, what changed? What's going on? Ain't nothing. Just ask somebody that. And then and people wonder, and then people, okay, yes, don't overreact. It's not cute to just be going off at the mouth and hanging up on people and all of that. And it wasn't like I cussed them out or anything. I didn't do that. But it's one thing, people don't understand that you can't control somebody's reaction. So you can't say something to somebody and then when they finally do this and do XYZ, you just want to just no. You can and then speaking on people without actually having this knowledge and two asking questions. Yeah, we've been friends for a long time, but like I said, in them spaces we fell out. And I told him that too. I told him that a couple times when we rekindled our friendship. I wasn't friends with you in a certain space, so I grew my boundaries. I sat with myself, and that's another topic I want to talk about too. But let me close that one out real quick. I don't want to be friends with nobody again who want to one up me. I don't want to be friends with nobody who feel like they need to always call me out, and I don't want to be friends with somebody who don't know how to ask questions and just be like, "What's going on? Like, what's this? What's changing in this? What's all of that?" And the lesson: stay away from people like that. As soon as you see it, move around it. But also, let's go back to that other topic. People just don't sit with themselves. I spend a lot of time. I probably spend way too much time sitting with myself to where I start overthinking. Like, I'll be able to take accountability in the situation, and then I'll overtake the accountability, and it's like, all right, now I got a headache because you over here doing too much. But some people just don't know how to sit with themselves and just be alone for a second. Like, in this world, I think we glorify the relationship. But don't get me wrong, I want a boyfriend, I want a little boo, I want to be laid up, I want to be able to have authentic, vulnerable conversations. But at the same time, some people just don't know when to just be by themselves and just sit there for a minute and be like, you know what, I did this in the past, I did this and this that. I'm gonna grow and move on, and I'm gonna actually work on building myself. It's crazy because people always they get so intrigued because I go to Cedar Point by myself. I go to amusement parks by myself. I travel by myself. But it's because at the end of the day, I've proved in some spaces that I can really just be by myself. Not only prove, and it wasn't just to prove to other people, but also to myself. Like you can be alone. You value yourself enough. And trust me, I've walked away from a lot of situations I could have stayed in that looked great, but it just didn't feel great because they don't go with my morals, values, or just my boundaries. Um, and so another thing for me was some people also people lie to themselves every single day. Now sometimes I still do that, but when you like really stop lying to yourself and you really be like, oh damn, why are we doing that? And it's like, oh my god, why am I doing that? So I've had a lot of those moments recently, especially with me cutting off a lot of my close friends because I was constantly doing things with them. I was constantly out. I was constantly absorbing other people that when I finally had that moment to just be alone, and yes, it was very lonely. Don't get me wrong. When lose and they say it all the time, you're gonna lose people, but people don't really talk about how lonely that is. It's lonely to lose close friends you were once always constantly cool with. And yes, it do shows a lot about yourself because it showed me in some spaces that I thought I was fine, but I wasn't. But it was because I just had a lot of different distractions. And so in those moments when I was by myself and I sat alone, I was like, damn. And going by myself to places, being forced to go by myself to those places, I'm not about to just sit and wait for somebody to be like, oh, okay, Keyshawn, let's go to the because I've done that and it didn't work. It's not working. Waiting on somebody, just don't do it. It's not doing it. And that's still what I'm learning in life is that you just can't wait on something or a person to you have to just do it. Like this video. I couldn't wait to do the video. I just had to go do it. But my point is in the world, people are so clouded by everything else that people just don't know when to come back and just be like, okay, I made that mistake. I did this, but I did great in here. I'm gonna continue to do this, but I need to stop doing that. I don't need to be around this person. I don't need to do this, and I don't need to be around, XYZ. And just also building up your self esteem. People will really stay in a situation because of some looks or because this person has this house, this car, and all this other stuff, and yada, yada, yada. I'm talking to plenty of dudes who had the car, the house, the job, and a lot of them couldn't even give me the bare minimum of respecting my boundaries and simply actually explaining what type of relationship that they want. And but also that goes back to me. This person obviously telling me they ain't want no real deep relationship. So why am I still staying? Why am I still being involved with a person who all they want to do is have a little lust? Lust is okay in some senses, but the more you sit with yourself, the more you stop lying to yourself, and the more you really sit with the darkest like truths of yourself, you start to see certain things and you start moving differently. I ain't taking nobody seriously in a minute. The last person I took in seriously was probably back in February. And it was just again basic bare minimum, basic bare stuff. But also too, you recognize, and I recognize in that person, he just doesn't sit with himself either. So because you can see when a person lacks emotional intelligence, when they lack emotional responsibility, accountability. You see when a person has never taken accountability, or you see somebody gaslighting you in real time. I'll do a story time about that in particular story, and discuss that topic later. But people just don't do that enough, and I feel like too, and that goes back to why these friendships I'm okay with letting them go because it was like, all right, well, I wasn't being valued in this sense. I wasn't being listened to in this sense. This person keeps doing this to me in this sense. Why can't I keep doing that? Why, all that other stuff. And then all that happened was because I sat with myself. I had a moment to realize, fuck that. I don't want to do that. So my point is, sometimes you just gotta sit with yourself. You just gotta sit. You gotta sit, journal, and that's why I say journal too. And I don't know if I said it earlier, but stop ranting to people. I mean, it's okay to rant to some people. Somebody that you know you locked in with, and y'all have that connection to where this person's not gonna judge me. They're not gonna make me feel like this, that, and the third, and all that other stuff. That is the type of person you rant and you have that conversation with. But I advise going into a journal, making video diaries, and doing all this stuff. Now, the difference between this and right now is I'm about to post this because I've already processed it. I've been through it. The friendship's over with. It is what it is. Still love that person, but and I wish best in all that they do. But I don't want to be. I don't want to be around that. I don't want people bringing upon that type of energy. So, but the point of the story is no. It's just and two for me myself too, because then again, I'm human. I still, got to work on these things. Just again, more building up the self esteem to understanding what I do want and what I don't want, and what is poisoning me and what is just not working for my life, and the type of people I want to be around. I want to be around people who will respect and value what I'm bringing to the table, but also what I have in here versus what they're seeing on the outside. So, but thank you guys for listening to this little video. Um, I'm gonna post a lot more. I'm gonna do a lot more videos. I'm gonna do a lot more when I don't look so tired because I'm about to go to work, and work is already another thing. I'm gonna probably do another video about that too because, baby. But hey, who knows? This would be probably a really good start to my YouTube journey in the type of stuff I want to post. I don't just want to post stuff like this though. I want to be able to post, content create. I want to post the theme park stuff. I want to post my skating videos. I want to just bring out a lot more stuff into this channel. But this video, just to give you a basis, um, or whatever. I don't know. Y'all, I'm just making up stuff, but you can follow me on Instagram at I.Keyshawn. You can follow my TikTok at I.Keyshawn J. And I'm gonna be back. It's time. Let's do it. Peace.